What's up, everybody? This week I'm bringing you an interview with the current Ninja Gaiden world record holder, TheRetroRunner. And he's more than just fast at games. He's here to talk about his journey through speedrunning, music, and more. So let's get to it. Yo, there we go.
Yo,
We're good.
stuff. We're good. We're all good. What's going on? Stuff. Chat.
Yes, what's going on, everybody? I'm
Happy to be
good.
here.
Happy heckin' Thursday.
I'm
Oh,
good too. Thanks for having me. Stuff was hit me up to like hang on a podcast thing. I'm like, yo, I'm in. Let's
I
do this.
super appreciate it. It's always hard, like, this is a thing I've wanted to do for a while, but I also didn't want to take away from NES Pros magazine's covered like their segment on you. And so I wanted to make sure that that was like out in the wild before I even tried to hit you up for this.
It's been around for a while. They don't have a video, so
Yeah.
it's more media, more
Yeah,
me,
that's right. That's
me.
that's what we're after here. Just more you.
There's more me.
So yeah, I mean it's pretty informal. I do have a couple things that I wanted to touch
All
on.
right.
The first, I'm gonna ask everybody your earliest video game memory.
Earliest video game memory. I know what it is. It was the first game that I ever played. It was Frogs vs. Flies for the Atari. And I don't know how old I was. I was very young, maybe like 4 or something like that. That's definitely the first game I remember playing. And I didn't actually own an Atari, but that's the first game that I played. I didn't really become like an active, like independent gamer or whatever until my dad got me the NES pack in with like I think it came with Rad Racer,
Oh
and
wow.
I think it was even before uh it was not the SMB pack in. It was like it came with Rad Racer, but I also got SMB and Legend of Zelda. Those are like my first games. But
Dang,
yeah,
that's a solid trio.
Flies. Yeah, Fries vs. Flies, definitely first video game memory.
What? I'm unfamiliar. What is Frogs versus Flies?
Rise vs. Flies is like there are it's an Atari game. So there's two like what do you call the leaves that they sit on? I'm sounding like an idiot.
Lily pads.
Lily pads. Wow.
Yes.
Two lily pads, and there are flies that go around and like you jump. And it's like a two-player game, or I guess it could be a one-player game, but I'd play with a friend. And you jump and you eat flies and you land on the lily pad and you just try to eat as many flies as you can, and that's it.
That actually sounds super fun though.
Yeah, it was when I was a kid. I was like, yeah, let's play frogs versus flies. Yeah, it's a cool one.
So then Rad Racer rocking the 3D glasses.
Yeah, I had the 3D glasses for a minute, for a sec. That's an impossible game. I don't know if you ever
As
played
soon as it
that
went to night
game.
mode, the night levels, like it was fine.
Yeah,
And then when
yeah.
it came to night levels, it's like somebody smeared Vaseline on your eyes. It was impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible, yeah, to make progress and like, yeah, that's a rough one. Like, if I can't imagine what it would take to beat that game, like, but it
It's
can't be
true.
easy.
Now I'm curious. I bet
Yeah,
Darth Turiel's done it.
yeah,
I'm so-
let's pull up screw this interview, let's watch a
Yeah.
speedrun of Rad Racer.
That's what I thought. So then, like, have you been playing games since then?
Um, like more or less, like so when I got the NES, I was like in the NES, and like I'm sure you remember, like when that era of gaming came out, it was like very prolific, not only just like for video games, but like pop culture. It was in like a bunch of movies. It was in Nightmare on Elm Street. It's like got the Power Glove out of nowhere. Of course, you got the Wizard and like the Super Mario Brothers show. So it was everywhere, and I was like like I love this stuff.
It was like the
Um,
source of 90% of playground lies.
Yeah, yeah, so many little liars in the school buses and playgrounds. Yeah, and then like Super Nintendo, I was in, and a PS1. I was very involved in that era as well. Like I played a lot of those games, but right around that time was like sort of the beginning of high school, and I was really starting to become more focused on like music and becoming
Yeah.
like a proficient guitar player. So like I kind of stopped like the whole GameCube PS2 era. I was kind of completely absent from. And like I would dabble like now and again, like when the original Halo came out, I was like, that was cool. I was involved in that. That's cool. But like I didn't really game very much for like many years as like music was the thing that I was doing. Like it took, you know, I gotta really get back into it. Like maybe a few years ago, like 8 years ago, I started
Okay.
to like, oh, like these games are cool, and like being exposed to like speed running and stuff. But yeah, there's a big block where I didn't really play any games.
And
So
so,
I
like,
guess that answers that question. I don't
I
know.
I know you made music, but I don't really know anything about it. Would you tell me, like, about your journey through music?
That could be that could be an entire podcast. That's a
That
really long
that's fine,
story,
we got time.
um, but yeah. So like, I started off like most, like almost anyone starts, like, in your room practicing, and then you find a bunch of local weirdos to start a little band with. And I was in a local band, and there was a lot of talent in this local band. Drummer was great and wrote a bunch of great songs. It's like a metal, melodic death metal, we called it, whatever that means. And I also hate genre names. It was like
They're
melodic death
very
metal.
vague.
Yeah, what does that
Like,
mean? You
it's
put a
the
melody in there? Okay.
yeah, because 'cause I'm like, "Is that
But
does
that
that mean Tool? But then what is
yeah.
Tool?" Like, I don't know.
Anyway, and we like, what happens with the local band thing is, even if you are very, very good and work very hard, like you saturate your local area, and everybody who likes you or is gonna be into you or wants to support you already likes you, already supports you, and has already seen you a bunch of times. So like, the next thing that you have to do is you have to like go out on the road, like self-supported, and that takes like an enormous leap of faith, like, and no one really can have an anchored job or like anchored things. And like, now we're getting to be older, like early 20s, creeping up on mid 20s, and like those things were sort of setting in for most of those members.
Right.
And I had a job and stuff, but I was like, I still want to do this. And as that band disintegrated, and some other factors in my life disintegrated, I met some people in California, which I know you're from. But
Yeah.
I met some people from California, and they were basically like, "Hey, come on down. Like, if you want to do it, like, you got to be here, not New York."
Right.
Where I'm from, and I was from at the time too. So I did. I took the leap of faith. I took very little with me, in a guitar, and I was hoping to just maybe audition for like any band, really. And like, after like within 24 hours, I got an audition for a band that not only had like label support, they were on a pretty good label, Prosthetic Records. They also had enormous tour support, and they were doing really cool things, like
Yeah.
international tours and North American, Canadian tours, and doing stuff.
Dang, okay.
um and I vibed with the music. It was like very technical, shreddy stuff. And I auditioned, and I ended up getting that gig for a bit, for a little while.
Yeah.
And but I got to do some really cool stuff. Like, I got to play Loud Park in Japan, like shitload of people. Excuse
That's
me,
so no, you're
a
good.
buttload of
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Buttload
You're
of
good.
people. I got to tour the States and Canada a couple times. I got to tour the UK and stuff.
Super
Um,
cool.
yeah, and that was like that music chapter.
Did you get to travel Japan at all while you're out there, or was it strictly business and go?
No, it was a festival. So like, it was we were in there and out of there pretty quickly. So we were in Shibuya
Okay,
mainly, which is a really cool town. And we had a translator with us who helped us do everything, and like babysat us
that's
basically.
helpful, though. It is
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah, yeah. No, it was necessary.
Yeah, if
I,
you don't know any of the
I
language, like
yeah, that was, you can't just like roam around. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be weird.
yeah.
But yeah, I didn't get to see anything. It's not like going to Japan and like sightseeing, which that'd be a totally different experience, which I love to do. Once in a lifetime experience. I'm not mad that,
Yeah, for
I'm not
sure.
still doing music. But yeah, that's that whole chapter. And like, um, to end that chapter, to be fair, like, I was, as they say, young, dumb, and the rest.
Yes.
But like, I was
Full of
not
speed
like,
run, right? Young,
yeah,
dumb, and
full of
full of
speed
speed run.
run.
I
Yes,
think that's what it is.
yes, full of speed run. Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna take that. Um, yeah. So like, I wasn't like in the correct mental state to really tour all the time and pursue that.
Right.
And like, it's not like I became like an alcoholic or anything, but I got a little lost. I lost sight of the fact that I took it for my position in the band for granted. I thought that who's going to replace me, kind of thing, and like, well, you're an idiot because anybody who can play that is going to replace you,
Right.
and like it just became not a good fit anymore for them. And, they went with somebody else, like, after, a few tours and stuff. And,
Yeah.
like, I kept in touch with them for a while,
Oh,
and they're really
cool.
cool, and there was
Yeah.
no hard feelings. And I was like, listen, I get it. I get
Yeah.
it.
Totally.
There's this incident in this is kind of the straw that broke the camel's back in Scotland. It was singer's birthday, and I got really, really, really drunk, and with a guitarist who I was close with at the time,
Yeah.
and we ended up in some girl's flat. And I mean, before you insinuate anything, there's definitely I was not coherent enough to actually do anything with said
Right.
girl.
Yeah.
So like, I just
Everything was
woke up.
flat. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything was flat. I just woke up. I time traveled, and I woke up, and I was in some person's flat, and she was like, "Well, you gotta go because I gotta like go to college and stuff." So like, I don't know, the guitarist isn't there, and I found myself on the streets of Glasgow, Scotland, with like no phone. My passport and stuff is in my luggage, which is in the
Oh,
hotel, which I don't know where
no.
that is. And
Yeah.
they found me by like the devil's luck, roaming the streets. So yeah,
Jeez.
that is a bit of a problem. I was like, I get it.
Like, yeah, we
I
can't do
get
this
it.
forever. I get it.
No,
Yeah, for
no.
sure. That's good you still
Anyway,
kept in touch though. And then
yeah, no,
so
there was zero hard feelings.
that's ideal. That's like the
Yeah,
ideal scenario.
yeah.
So how did you end up starting to speedrun?
Um, really, that's another long story, I guess.
It
I guess that's what we're here for, right?
is
Story
exactly what
time,
we're here for.
story time. I like at the time I wasn't like playing platformers or stuff, but like I used to work in construction, and like when I would come home, I'd relax and like started revisiting some like RPGs and stuff, like
Oh, cool.
Chrono Cross, and at the SNES RPGs I would play like to go to sleep or whatever. Um, but like one day, I'm on an 8-foot ladder, and there's this garage door that I thought was far enough away from me. It's like a professional, like automotive dealership garage door that doesn't roll up like your garage door at home.
Or they
It
come out?
is where it doesn't go like you
Yeah.
slow. There's a drum in the middle, and it rolls up real fast, and the drum expands incredibly fast. It goes,
Oh.
it goes really fast, and it expands a lot. So I thought I was far enough on this ladder. I used to run cable for data and AV, so that's what I was doing.
Oh, wow.
And I thought I was far enough, and I got knocked off the ladder. Like the ladder did not hold me at all. I landed on my collarbone. I broke it. I landed on my wrist. I broke it. The bone went through my ligament in my wrist.
Oh, dear.
Um, and I had anyway, I had back problems. I had to have neck surgery. Anyway, I couldn't work, and I had a lot of time on my hands.
Yeah.
So like, I guess being left with the thing that I used to do after work, which is revisit these old games, I started revisiting other games, and I started becoming aware of like the phenomena of speed running along with a friend. And it was Mega Man X at first, and I thought it was really cool. Like I'd never seen anything like that, and I know that you could be that good at a game. I remember when he showed me a speed run for the first time. I was like, he was like, "Did you watch the link that I sent you, the speed run link?" I was
Yeah.
like, "No, no, I'm not. Like,
Like
I
most
don't
people,
care."
when you send them a link, they're like, "Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
well,
No, no, no,
I'll
I'm not
totally check
interested.
that out, maybe."
Yeah, crazy. No, he made me watch it. It was like, I don't know what the world record was at the time for Mega Man X, and that like freaking blew my mind. Like I've said this many times before, but it's like when you read a life-changing book or see a
Mm,
life-changing movie that just like ch- completely changes your perspective. And
yeah,
I was like, not only like impressed by it, I was like, that is cool. Like I would love to try that. And my friend at the time was also captivated by it, and he was like, well, if we let's both take like a week to learn as much as we can about this speed run, and then we'll race each other. And
yeah.
admittedly, I had a lot more time on my hands than he did, but because of that, I a week was that what you get involved in a speed run,
Oh
a week's
yeah.
not enough,
Oh
like,
yeah.
I was hooked, I had to know all the strats and be completely involved in going as fast as possible, and, like, that's kinda how it started.
The technical guitar knowledge transferred to a game since you couldn't play guitar either. So it's like,
Yeah, definitely, and I've talked about that a lot before, definitely it's 2 completely different actions, but it absolutely scratches the same, like, itch in my brain or whatever because there's like the practice part of it, right? The repetition
mm,
part of it and the dexterity and hand-eye coordination part of it. Where I always had that OCD thing where I had to like practice and like it's not good enough, it's not perfect, it's not perfect, we
right,
got to get it
yeah,
perfect. And then there's like it was streaming, there's like a live performance part of it where you have to put all that stuff together
yep.
and like not make any mistakes or whatever. So yeah,
There's definitely
completely
overlap.
yeah, there's an enormous overlap there. Like I'll bet no one's ever gonna do this, but I'll bet if they hooked like nodes up to your brain and they had someone like practicing intense music or like technically demanding music, and like also like had them like speed run, like it'd be like the same areas of the brain lighten up like a Christmas tree.
You know what that makes me think too is like there are a lot of musicians that end up going to speedrunning, right? And I'm very curious if how you decide to learn music, how you choose to learn music and get better at music, then translates to how you learn games. Because like I know there are a lot of people that, all right, I'm gonna pick this segment, I'm gonna practice, I'm gonna grind it out, I'm gonna grind it out, I'm gonna grind it out, and that is the key to getting really good really fast, right? And then there's people like me who I'm like, I'm just gonna listen to the song from beginning to end over and over and try to nail it. And then when it's over, I'm gonna start over and I'm gonna remember the parts I messed up and try to fix them along the way, which is definitely a longer path to success, but it's like what works for me.
Yeah, I would definitely say that I mean, someone told me that the way you do one thing is the way that you do everything. That makes
Uh,
sense. Like your personality in one thing is going to translate to your personality in another thing. I mean, and to your credit, you might say that you don't get as good as fast, but I think you probably have a lot more fun than I do sometimes, when like and it's like, you gotta have this masochistic thing where like I
right,
can take a lot of punishment of repetitive things, but like it's not always fun,
right.
like
That's like the balance, right? Like trying to keep
yeah,
it fun and still making sure you're putting in the repetitions. Because
right,
like
right, yeah.
I recently started to go toward practicing more because it started to click. I'm like, how did I get good at jujitsu? I didn't get good at jujitsu by just showing up and trying it. No, I drill and I drill and I drill and I drill. I'm like, it's the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, that's also very similar, I would imagine. Absolutely. Lately I've been having a lot more fun with practice and finding ways to make it fun for viewers to like tell them what it is I am practicing first of all, which sometimes I never used to do. I used to
right.
practice part over and over again, and it's like, well, for you to know what I'm doing, like, what's going on here? Like,
Yeah.
so like try to inform them, and then like some games you do need the audio. But like for Super Ghouls and Ghosts, you don't really need the audio. So
Interesting.
and save states like messes up the audio anyway.
Yep.
So like I'll mute it and I'll throw on song requests and we can listen to music and it's a lot more chill vibes, a lot more fun, I think.
Yeah. I like that you've been doing that. I've enjoyed it. It's also nice, like keeping it to video game music has been cool too.
Yeah, don't give me the mute.
Yeah, exactly. But also, giving people watching context is huge because, like you said, a lot of times people don't know. Like, unless you run the
Yeah,
game, you're like, "Well, what do you?" It looks like you're doing the same thing to me. Like, why do you
right.
keep
Yeah,
doing
what's
this?
the difference here?
Yeah,
Are you okay? Are you all
yeah,
right? You
yeah.
need to call
Trust me, I'm having fun. So I guess then I'm actually curious of how you would describe speedrunning to somebody who has no context. Just
Oh,
speedrunning in general.
it's so tough. Even just explaining what streaming is to someone who has no concept of it is really difficult. I have a good analogy for what streaming is for someone who has no reference, but
Yeah,
speedrunning is for someone who has no reference. It's just like it's the search for optimized efficiencies, right? So like you could apply
yeah,
that to pretty much anything. Like if you're driving to work and you want to get there as quickly as possible, right? You have to find a route that is the most optimal, and you have to, well, within safe reason, drive as fast as possible to get
Right.
there. Well, that's speed running, except we're just applying it to a video game where we have a start position and an end position. You know, like when you frame count, you have point A and point B. So you
Yeah.
start from point A and you want to get to point B as quickly as possible. And to do that, you have to establish a route that is optimal for that, and you have to establish strats that maximize your chances for cutting as much time as possible.
I
It's a
actually
really weird hobby, and I'm very self-aware of it. It's strange. Like, speedrunning is freaking bizarre, and, like, I get people are like, "What wait, what is it that you do?" Like, I get your perspective, I totally do.
I really like that analogy though because it includes RNG of like traffic and stoplights and
Right,
like
yeah, yeah, there's RNG, there's, maybe there's a crazy passenger who's, like, stopped in front of your car and, like, banging on your windows, it's that would be RNG.
It's funny because I was recently thinking about it too. I was like trying to like consider music and speedrunning in the same context, and I was like, I had the same idea of like the live music because I imagine the practice is kind of the same. It's very similar. Practice is very similar. Um, but then when you throw in the RNG elements, I was like, well, I guess it's kind of like playing a live show. You never know. You could show up and their audio equipment doesn't work. Your audio equipment doesn't work.
Oh,
The
yeah,
crowd
yeah,
could just be nuts. Like you just
all
don't
kinds
know.
of stuff. Yeah, like you could have the flu, which I did more than once live, and like you just have to. There's no like, all right, I'm gonna take five guys. You gotta get up there and do the things.
Yeah,
Um,
that's rough.
IRL has a lot worse RNG than any video game.
This is true. It's very hard to manip IRL RNG.
You can a little bit within reason, but
Oh, that's great. Oh man. So like what I mean, I've really enjoyed your Halloween content. I know we talked about this a little bit beforehand that you didn't exactly get to everything that you wanted to get to. Do you have plans on or we could go back over that since we didn't talk about that here, but
Sure. Yeah, so, like, every October, like, I kinda throw, like, because doing this full time is awesome, but it's also, like, this double-edged sword where I have to consider, like, numbers all the time, which kinda sucks. But, October, I always throw that to the wind, and I do whatever I want to do because I love October so much. My birthday is October, it's in, like, a couple days, and I just love Halloween, I love horror movies, I love, like, campy, arguably bad horror movies. I love all that stuff. I love pumpkin spice. I just eat it up. I'm a sucker for all that stuff. So like, and I try to like, um, reflect that in the content and like really bring the content value up and just create a lot of media. I always create like a channel trailer for the month of October that has like either music that I've made and or, like juxtaposed on like zombies and stuff, and it like tells you what's going on that month. um, so this month I wanted to up it even more, and like I just piled on so much stuff, and like I did schedule the month like almost like streamwise to the minute, and it might have worked,
yeah.
but IRL RNG, right? Like I was supposed to run. We are running Super Ghouls and Ghosts. That's going reasonably well. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying the run. It's almost impossible. I'm not amazing at it yet, but I do like it, and we have been doing that. But another thing I wanted to do was I used to mess with Castlevania Symphony of the Night, but not as Alucard as
Mm.
Richter because he has like really technical like movement inputs, and
Mm.
it's a really cool, beautiful run to watch.
Is that the one with
So I
the like slide dashes?
Yeah, he's got slide dashes. He's got this like air dash that like it kills everything. You're like Chuck Norrising through everything. He's got like a Shoryu almost. He's got like a dragon punch.
Wow.
Um, but like he's super overpowered. But he's a glass cannon too. So like
Right.
if you get hit a couple times, some enemies even will one shot you. You die, and like so it's got like it's got this dichotomy of being really overpowered and cool movement and also being like really butt clenchy. So it makes for a good run. I do recommend checking it out if you haven't.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got to stream it like I don't know once for like half an hour, and I had to go, and I was like, all right, we'll come back to it. And I tried to fire it up again, and like the my Xbox 360 kept on crashing over and over again.
Uh,
It's actually toast. And, like, a
RIP.
lot of people were like, "Why don't you just play it on, like, Mister or emulator or whatever?" And, like, you could do that, but, like, the fastest way to play that game is on the Xbox 360 because the load times are, like, like, they're non-existent, and there's no lag, which is
So
interesting that
crazy to me.
it's interesting, yeah, isn't it? It's interesting that that leaderboard, and ultimately it's just up to the community, right? What you
Yeah.
accept your own speed runs, but like they accept the runs on the same board as like PlayStation 1 runs and PlayStation 1 emulator runs. But like if you want to be real fast, you need a copy on the Xbox 360. So it's
So
bunked.
crazy. Yeah, it is interesting how communities, like, just decide.
Yeah. Yeah, because like, we are talking about Mega Man X, there's, like, a version on the PS2 that similarly gets rid of all the, you know, like, sprite lag and stuff,
Mega Man's
but,
full
like
of.
yeah, yeah, but, like, you would never be able to submit to the same board. There's a different board for that game, but they would never match those 2 boards up. Anyway, I didn't get to do that, and I was supposed to do like a shred stream. I even had like a mixer that I got that is gonna help with audio quality with that and stuff, but I never got around to setting it up or finding the space for it even. And like the only thing I really did was Super Ghouls and Ghosts and Lickython, and everything else is a lie.
Getting new streaming equipment is always exciting, but you know that there's, like, a learning curve, and, like, setting it up is gonna be kind of a nightmare, and getting it where you're happy is also, like, a whole 'nother thing.
Yeah, yeah, and whatever. I'm happy with the. It ended up in other ways being like my most successful month like ever, which is crazy because I was expecting. I'm always expecting a hit on October. I don't care. This is my month, and I
Right.
want to do what I want to do. But like, this is one of my most successful months ever. It's just weird that, and on one hand, ultimately extremely successful. On the other hand, like complete failure. Like, in
Hey,
terms of things I wanted to do.
having a fun time. I will say, Super Ghouls and Ghosts is really fun to watch. It's
Oh,
actually
yeah,
yeah,
thanks, man. I'm glad you enjoy it. Glad you enjoy
yeah.
it.
I mean, unfortunately, I'm usually working. It's like
Right, yeah. Yeah,
I'm not always successful at the work lurk. I usually do both poorly.
uh,
Um,
I, um, I used to stream, this, I used to stream late at night, like, really late at night, and I had to switch because my brain was frying, but,
yeah,
like, I was concerned that, like, how no one's gonna watch me, everyone's working. So like
yeah,
how are you going to be able to watch me or you're at school or you're doing some normal daytime human being contributing member to society thing. So like who's going to watch me and the answer to that is severely underestimated the number of people who are not actively working at work.
yeah. But also, like, how many more people now get to work from home?
That's true too. That's true too, I mean like that and that's, direct result of the pandy or
Mm,
whatever.
yeah, crazy. I know you mentioned your birthday, which is coming up.
Yeah.
And you have stream plans for your birthday?
Yeah, it's Saturday, and my friend Evil Elfo is here. A lot of you know him.
Is he here now?
He's here now. Yeah, he's
My
here
gosh,
now.
hi, Elf.
Um, yeah, he's like my pet for another week or so. Less than a
Dang.
week, but
One day I'll have an
um,
evil elf pet.
yeah, yeah. If you try, if you're good,
But yeah,
not,
sorry, birthday
not share
stream.
everybody. Birthday stream, right? Yeah. So I'm not gonna do like anything grindy, but play some games. Maybe I'll try to get that clear file, some of that clear file on Symphony and the night going. And then like maybe do some co-op stuff with Elf, and I don't know, maybe he wants to play some games. I'll speedrun some beers. I'll play some games.
Hey, we might
You
get A
know,
plus plus.
plus is like stomach pump.
Well, not well, we'll just add, elf to the equation. He can be the
Oh,
extra
like two A
plus.
pluses.
Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So
Yeah. I thought you meant like 1 degree higher than A plus, which is like
initially,
that's
I did, but then after you said that, I was like, "Yeah, that's probably a bad idea." Yeah.
that's no good, no good.
Who's gonna make the marshmallow sandwich at that point?
Who's gonna be the concerned friend to try to feed me into not drinking anymore?
That's exciting. So, do you have any idea what games you wanna play?
I don't know. Might mess around with. like Monster Party, or like try. I am not a like an Alucard any percent Symphony of the Night speedrunner, so I wouldn't be able to do it in one day, but maybe
Uh,
some of it, some of it to kick it off or whatever. And I don't know. Alpha and I were messing around with Monster in My Pocket, a co-op.
nice. That game's so good.
Yeah, it is. We got not last place, so
Nice.
maybe
Hey.
maybe we climb up on that a little bit, or just whatever, just have a good time. And I'll have. I learned how to recently have your like desktop sounds, or like in my case, playing music
Yeah.
like on another channel that doesn't go to your Twitch VODs.
Oh,
So,
nice.
maybe we'll listen to some music, hang out.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good call. Well, oh, because you have your mixer. Are you using that for
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
Nice, because then you can output it to the headsets, but not to the stream.
Right, right, yeah.
One day, I'll be mixer life.
Or maybe more than likely, I won't do any of that research, and that's not.
That sounds
Yeah,
that sounds like me. All right, we're just gonna wing it. All those cool ideas I had, yeah, there just wasn't
forget
time.
about that. Forget about that. It's kind of funny, like I was saying, like I didn't get to do any of these things that I planned out because I made a really cool. I love the trailer that I made for this month. It's really cool, and it's got a song that I was working on for a while, and it's just like I know how to edit better and stuff, so it like came out better. But it's like has like whatever feature this month, speedrun of super ghouls and ghosts, and like everything after that is a lie. Like it's like shred streams, no. Like Symphony of the Night, no.
What even is a month? We can
Yeah,
continue.
yeah,
You just gotta when it pops up, go this fall.
yeah,
Like-
yeah, yeah. Fall, yeah. Give me more than 1 month.
I love that though. I do the same thing. October is my like, all right, I'm just gonna play scary games and screw around and just have fun. No pressure.
Yeah, yeah. And like normally I said I take a hit during October and I don't care, but
Yeah.
it's great that people have been, here for the content and stuff and hanging out, and really appreciate it. So
Well, you're
um
awesome, so that helps.
oh,
I've been
you're handsome.
aw, thanks. My parents
Uh,
made me.
they're probably handsome too. I mean,
Yeah,
your dad, not your mom.
they're both pretty handsome.
Oh.
Everybody needs handsome days.
Yeah.
Yeah, Symphony of the Night's a game that I've been wanting to get to. That's a game that I considered playing this month, and I got caught up. Silent Hill 3. I try to play a Silent Hill every month or every
Yeah.
October.
October. Yeah, I've noticed that.
It took some time, and then now I'm trying. I was like, oh, I got 4 days left. Can I do Castlevania Damageless in 4 days? Spoiler alert: the answer is probably no.
You could try though. You don't know.
Yeah, it's true. I'm having a fun time. So I know you made music for this trailer that you made. Are you making other music? You like finding
I'm
time for
always
that?
I'm always backlogged with stuff. I used to have this redemption, which either when I finally catch up will either completely die or will just be just purely monetized, but used to be able to with a severe amount of channel points redeemed
Yeah.
for me to like cover a video game theme song, which I still think is a great idea, and I've made a lot of good stuff because of that. It's just so much time, way too time consuming, way too time consuming, and especially doing the stream thing full time, like there is not there isn't enough time in the day to like, okay, you made a redemption and I can give you a reliable time frame window at all to like do the song and like deliver it to you and like get good at it enough to play live. And like I don't think I think I might monetize it. But
I
yeah, I started way back when I started Mr. Y from Streets of Rage 4 soundtrack. I have to finish that. And then
okay.
once I finish that, I'm all caught up on music and I can decide what I want to do with that.
And to be fair, like when you did have that redemption, it was a lot, but it wasn't like out of reach, which you know what I'm saying? So then it kind of like I think when you released it, people were kind of hoarding points at that time.
Yeah,
So
they
then a
were.
lot of people were like, "Yep, let's do that." Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I had the same problem where I was like, oh, I want to do animations. Like I'm gonna make it so you can redeem points for animations. Not considering the amount of time that it takes for an
Oh my
animation,
god, an
right?
animation, that's like I did, so, like, the bounce emote and the Bagoo emote that I have are like, I did myself because didn't have anybody. They rolled out the animated emotes. I'm like, "I need
Yeah.
animated emotes. There's no way I can't have, like, good animated emotes." And so I had to just, like, try to learn, how to animate
Yeah.
things, and it's extremely time consuming. And to be fair, I'm not, like, good at it. I'm definitely not an efficient, tasker when it comes to those
Right.
kinds of things, but, like, god god damn, that is crazy. And, like, to have a redemption where, like, "Oh, I have the points, make me an animation," that's insane.
Yeah, well, for what it's worth, those emotes turned out amazing, so I'm sure they were a bunch of work, but they turned out great.
Thanks, man. I'm happy with them,
Yeah, and, part of that could be they're really small, so
right. If you
yeah, you can hide a
if you
lot.
blow those up, you can see all kinds of crazy artifacts and stuff.
That's great. So, what do you have planned for next month? Like, if you're done with October stuff?
You know what? I don't know.
Nice. I
I
like that
think
answer.
I don't really know. Here's what probably is going to happen. At this point, I've invested so much time in Super Ghouls and Ghosts that probably will continue with it, and it was so successful that I probably should continue with
Yeah,
it. But like a month's grind, which we did with Chip and Dale for September, and it's a
yeah,
cool format, and you have to strategize a little differently than a full time. You have a
yeah,
month to do something, and so you need to set a goal that you think you can hit, and like master the strats as quickly as possible that you think are going to get you to that goal.
yeah.
Um, a full-time Super Ghouls and Ghost grind would be a completely different story. Like I basically almost start from scratch, and there would be maybe at least a week or more, maybe 2 weeks of just pure study and learning because there's just so much. It's completely so dense. I When I first started running that game, because I used to run it like way, way back when. That's when the original interest came from. I used to think like, wow, this game is so much RNG and it's just so random and like it does have a lot of RNG, but what's really going on is every situation that you have, there's like between vaguely between 2 and 5 different things that can happen.
Right.
And so what you have to do is you have to go through the game and farm save states for like all of those events
That
and like
makes
learn the
sense.
strat for all of those events and get really good at them and get really good at spotting them as early as possible. So like that's the high level grind of that game, which I might give a shot, but I would need all that to say, because it's so dense, I would need like a weekly, palate cleanse, and like,
Right.
maybe we do the Richter thing, or we do just something that is I know is not going to be like, you know, numerically earth shattering or whatever, but it's just something that I know I'm going to enjoy and like something that's going to like ground me and not
Yes.
and keep me a little sane. But yeah,
Yeah.
and none of this is written in stone, totally
Right,
fly by the seat
yeah.
of my pants, but, like, that's if you ask me right now, that's probably what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I guess at that point, it's time to figure out the, USB to X Pack Pro stuff.
Yeah,
If there's 5
absolutely.
events and you only have 4 save states.
Right, yeah, so I've been using an FX Pack Pro that they only give you, like, 4 slots for each D-pad, like, 4 slots per
Yeah,
game. I've been just copying the game. I have, like, 6 copies of Super Ghouls and Ghosts, so I have, like, effectively 24
which is
slots,
also a
but
hassle.
yeah, and it's a hassle to do that. It's a hassle to make those because every time you want to make them, you gotta like go through the game and get to the part that you want to make a save state of. But even that is not even nearly enough save states for
Yeah.
that game. Like the 24 save states is like double what I had for even Ninja Gaiden, and like that's just scratching. You can make 24 save states on like the first stage. You know what I mean?
Well, like, it's like a 30 something minute run, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, if you're really, really good, 32, a 32
yeah.
is like there's I think only 4 runners have 32s. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's the thing, longer runs, like, there's so much that could go wrong. That's
Yeah, yeah, it is disheartening, when you get a run deep and it doesn't go your way. And like
like
especially Super Ghouls and Ghosts, like a lot of other games, like you made an error, like you lose a second. Like in Super Ghouls and Ghosts, you make an error, it's like minutes sometimes,
right.
like even minor errors can cost you like 30 seconds. So yeah, it's I mean, but on the other hand, because it's like that, because there's so much weight on everything that you do, and it's so
Yeah.
long when you are successful, like it's insane. It's an
Yeah.
insane feeling. Like when I got the PB that I have now, which isn't even very impressive, but it's like it's a deathless run, and we didn't take any hits that we didn't mean to take, so no unintentional hits. And like when we're like at the last stage, the second loop or whatever, like my legs went numb. I couldn't even feel
Yeah.
my legs, like I feel like I'm doing this long enough to get kind of good enough to like not let chat know that let them on that I'm freaking out, but like
Right.
totally freaking out. And once it's over, there's this crazy release of like I guess adrenaline. It's
Yeah.
pretty amazing feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I did Super Castlevania for I think 2 or 3 months, and yeah, getting to the 37, I got a sub 37, which was like not a thing I thought I'd do. I did it without save states. So it was like
That's
every time was
incredible.
just like, what? Like, yeah,
That's incredible. But so that's the same we're talking about the same length of run, basically.
yeah, it's about the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always said like, oh, 20 minutes is my max, and then I found Super Castlevania. Okay, all right, there are runs that I enjoy enough.
Yeah, I love the 20-minute and under time, frame for a speedrun. Like that's the sweet spot. So there's like enough things going on that it has like some depth,
Right.
but it's not so long that like you know, it's soul crushing to reset, or like really long runs. At least for me, like can be a bit of a slog, to
Yeah.
watch. Unless you're really involved in the community and you love that game or whatever, that's different. But like,
Luckily, the soundtrack is amazing. A lot of the Super Nintendo stuff has amazing soundtracks, which
yeah,
helps.
that
Like,
helps. That helps.
like if we could just jam out, they're like, all right. Even if they're
Yeah,
just work lurking, they can have the
right,
music
right.
going on.
Sure. Yeah.
So I started watching you, like you're probably in like the 30 viewers or so. You're still not convinced that you were going to accomplish all these things in Ninja Gaiden. Do you recall when you got to a point where you're like, this is doable?
Well, what do you like the
Like the
Ninja
world
Gaiden World
record that you were,
Record?
yeah, that you actually were like, okay, this is in my grasp.
Yeah. So like part of the reason that I got to where I eventually got is because I didn't stop for like years. And like really the reason I didn't stop is because like especially at the time that I was coming up, like my first sub 12 and starting to improve my first sub 12. Originally I was only my first goals were like super humble. The first run that I submitted, and this was an enormous deal to me and never thought this would happen, is to be a top 20 runner.
Yeah.
And I had a 12:07 was good enough to do that at the time, and that was an enormously big deal to me. And I came back to get the sub 12,
Yeah.
and that's a pretty big barrier to do that. But once you get past sub 12 at that time, like 2 seconds or a second or so of improvement didn't get you like one slot above. It got you like significantly far above. It got like, okay, so if I shave 2 seconds, now that's like seventh place, and if I shave another second, that's like fifth place. And like uh, that's when it really sucked me in time wise. Like I didn't want to let go of it because every improvement was like a real massive like you know, uh, landmark,
Yeah.
of a time. And like, I think I got what was it, 11:47 sub Ohan, the first sub
Yeah.
Ohan, like for many runners for a long time. And there was just like Becco in my way, who had an 11:44,
The
and that
infamous
was
Becca.
yeah, but you guys know him. He's computer machine god gamer.
Yeah,
Um,
seriously.
and I was like, I know that I can be faster than an 11:44, and that was supposed to be it,
Right.
you know. Sub Becco, I have second place, and that's it, because obviously no one is touching Arcus, right? Um, so like I was hunting for that for a while, and I had an 11, like I was like 2 frames away from him or something like that, Becco. and I was
Yeah.
just hunting for a little bit more time to get 11:43, second place, done deal. And but the time that broke that barrier was in 11:40. So and like I beefed the demon a bit, and that could have been 11:39 or something, which like no one ever did that
Yeah.
besides the man, Arcus.
Yeah.
So like that was really when like the spark of it. I was like, oh, okay, like this is becoming a little different than I anticipated. And so I, as a joke, pure 100% as a joke, I started putting world record attempts in my
Yeah.
stream.
I remember.
After that,
Yeah.
it's a complete joke because I is so far away still. Um, but like once we hit like an 11:39 and actually really a high 11:38, and I saw how much like how many things I could do to help me be faster. I
Yeah.
was like, this isn't like a Hail Mary pass. I think a lot of people thought it was like that to eclipse Arx's almost 11:38 flat at the time. Like you need
Yeah.
like this crazy lotto ticket, 1 in a million chance. I was like, no, I know it's not that way. Like it's not that I feel that it's this way. I know for a fact that it's not this way. So if I keep doing this plan, it's not like maybe it's gonna happen. It's like definitely going to happen. You know. And it did.
That's
So from
awesome.
that 11:40, almost an exact year later was the
That
first
was
11:45.
your Dumb
Yeah.
and Dumber moment. So you're
Yeah,
saying there's a chance.
saying there's a chance.
I don't think I mean maybe I don't know if you realize like not just what you did for Ninja Gaiden, but just for speedrunning as a whole. Like obviously summoning salt brought a lot of people to Ninja Gaiden and put a lot of people's mindset into like nobody's gonna beat Arcus. And we all love Arcus. Arcus is amazing. But
That's
you
why I got to where I was got. Like people talk to me about him. Like, you think I don't know about Arcus? Like, I'm definitely a bigger fanboy of Arcus probably than you are. Maybe I don't know. Maybe.
But like like a lot of things don't happen because people put up mental barriers and you showed people what was possible and like just the sheer act of persistence, how far you can get. And like now look at what people are doing with Ninja Gaiden. I don't think that that happens without you in the picture. I just don't.
I appreciate that sentiment. I hope so. Like, um, I hope that I was able to show that. And like maybe it's not even speed running. Maybe it's someone told you there's no way that you could do something, or like doing something is frivolous, or like you'll never get there. But like you got this like super detailed clear map, this plan of attack that like you look at it, all the steps, and you're like, I know I don't this isn't a feeling or intuition. Like I know this is going to happen if I just do this and this. It might take like more patience than a sane person should be expected to have. But if I do it, it's gonna happen. If you have that, like you
Yeah.
have, don't let anybody stop you from doing that. Just do it. And like ultimately, what they think is not going to matter anyway, and they won't be around.
Uh,
When you're looking back at whether or not it was worth it. Like don't let someone do that to you.
no, I love it. I mean, honestly, it's a perfect example of focusing on the process. Um, but also like it's been my approach now with TMNT. Like I don't have to be the fastest now. I just have to keep doing it. And like you're a big
Right.
inspiration for me in that aspect because I watched you from where you were and like just kept showing up, kept practicing, kept grinding, and like didn't just beat the world record but crushed it multiple times. That's huge.
I appreciate that a lot, man. I do. And like, yeah, if like I think a lot of people, when I was going through that or whatever, trying to hunt for, especially like improving the record, a lot of people were like, why are you doing that? Like you already have it. Like, why are you doing that? Because like it wasn't about it, never listen, it never was about like um there's this awesome talented runner and I want to beat him. Like that's never the way my brain worked at all. And actually, if I thought that way, I wouldn't have done it, because
Yeah.
like it wasn't about beating his time. And I did it actually made it more manageable, because in the end, like I didn't have to beat his time, I had to beat my time. And that was like very not very manageable, but like I could see like how that was very possible, like I
Yeah.
didn't have to beat some unbeatable run. I just had to beat my own run, which eventually would be faster than some other run, but it was never about that for me. I just wanted to like have something that showed what I could do,
Yeah.
or at least came close to like the potential of what I could do.
Yeah, I love it. It's been a pleasure. I'm like, I guess I don't want to create more pressure, but now it's like I'm looking forward to the next thing that you find that sparks that same like drive.
Yeah, yeah,
And
me
it may
too.
never come. Like, and that's fine
It
too,
might,
you know?
I might not spend 4 years on a game again. I definitely they're like having put so much time, like a lot of those beginning years, like I could have cut a lot of time because I didn't really know how to practice. I didn't have
Right.
save states. I was not efficient at practicing or like noticing what I needed to improve on or not. I kind of have that knowledge now, the general speedrunning knowledge. And like, if I am committing to a game, I would like to get beyond like an area that most people could get like quickly, you know? Like even if I decided to take the ghouls and ghosts thing, like I probably won't world record it or anything, but I would like to show like, hey, Retro went in and like he gave it like like he went in for some bold strats, he learned some complicated stuff and some technical stuff, and he was able to show that off in a run. But yeah, I had actually that's interesting, yes. Cypher. I don't know if you know Cypher, the Mega
Yeah.
Man 2
I'm
legend.
familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, familiar. He came in and he was like, he asked me the same question. If I thought that there would be a game that I would commit to a grind like Ninja Gaiden, I was like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. You don't know until you know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happened with TMNT. I never thought that that would be the game that I'm like, yep, I'm going to play this for the foreseeable future, whether I go mad or not. Like, this is the game and I'm enjoying it. Like, didn't
That's all
expect
that
that.
matters. Excuse me. It's been cool to see you because I've seen you play a lot of different games. And like I definitely noticed with TMNT, you're like, oh, this is like the one, like this. It's been cool to see that like spark in your eye. You found like,
Thank
your
you.
thing that you want to really invest time
Yeah, most games I just hold forward and pray. I'm like,
in.
no, I guess I'm going to learn actual things this time. Like, it's funny too. It's interesting as like somebody who, relatively new. A lot of us started speedrunning during pandemic. And I started to realize watching people that a big difference between a lot of early times was just who was not afraid to just try things. Like, just try
Sure.
them. Sometimes they work
Yeah.
out, whatever. Like, don't let a strat stop you from trying it. It's like the first
Yeah.
step to
Yeah.
not
Absolutely.
to doing that strat is not doing it a lot. Like,
Right. Right. Yeah. That's another practice efficiency things. I would be like, oh, I'll never be able to learn that strat. So there's no use in trying it. Like try to learn it. Maybe not throw it in runs, but like from the get go, see how it freaking feels. Try it. You won't
yeah,
get. You know, there isn't any strat that's like an RTA strat. That people are doing that no one. Well, maybe there are some. Let me not. Let me backtrack. Like
yeah,
mash stuff, some stuff, yeah. But like
right,
for the most part, like you said, the barrier is like an intimidation one. Like, let me not try that. Like
yeah,
with Ninja Gaiden, like Eggs Benny and stuff, that's been around for a long time. That's a very old strat, but no one would throw it in runs because like it's right at the end of a run. There's like three factors of RNG, and like you might die. Um, but
yeah,
that's like one thing that helped me out a lot is I would go for it every time. And now like you pretty much need it. You don't
yeah.
need it, but like it's a big save at the end, and if you don't get it, it's almost, ripperoonie.
Like all the stuff in
Uh,
Act 6 is scary. You're so like,
access is terrifying, but that's why then like on top of all that stuff, you're gonna risk everything on like, point 0.5 or point 0.6 time
right.
second.
Now you got people throwing in pickle boosts and like, like really?
Yeah, I love where the game is. It's so much faster of a game than when I was coming up, and like the Ninja Gaiden community was like really awesome. Like you know, me or Arcus or Lane, we might be like pressing the buttons and getting these like, faster times, but like, I didn't figure out the logistics
uh,
of pickle boosts, or
I think that might have been
Edo.
Edo, yeah.
Edo was the first to like, yo, like you can boost off this guy, and like he had like a standing slash setup, and
Uh,
like if you get this boost perfect, you'll save 0.1 seconds. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, but also kind of dumb. And then I think it was Black Squall who kind of refined it. He made it not only easier, but he made it save time, more time.
uh,
Um, but that's just like one example. Edo helped me out a bunch, and other people too. Like, I definitely wouldn't gotten there without a bunch of people's help.
yeah, Edo does love to lab things out. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, he's got an awesome speed brain. We need him.
Yeah, for sure. He just sits down and he'll, like, hyper focus on things. It's
Yeah,
very, very nice. I
yeah,
mean, just the amount of people who, were drawn to Ninja Gaiden, it's nice to see that that community hasn't, like, faded. Everybody's like, if anything, it continues to grow. There's always new people. "Oh, sure, I'll do that." And it and
yeah,
it
yeah.
and now,
That's the
like
Ninja Gaiden hype never like seems to die down. There's
yeah.
always something happening with it, which is great.
Well, then it makes me think, so, like, you had talked about pushing games, like, whatever game you're gonna play, you're like, "I at least wanna get to a point where it's past where most people would stop,"
Right,
and
right.
it makes me wonder, like, how do we curate a master list of ninja licenses for games? Like, we need, like,
Yeah,
a go-to place where you could be like, "Okay, what's the ninja license size for this game?" Like
yeah, yeah. That's an interesting point because, like, so, like, Ninja License is like sub 1230, but like, which it's that's a very good time to make it to call it a Ninja License because you need to be involved in the game for a while and things have to go right well enough for you to get that time. It's like a little beyond like, okay, I've been running this game for like a month or whatever. Some people have gotten very quickly, but
yeah.
like you have to put in some time to get a license, more than like a week. You have to
But
put in some.
yeah, and to that point, like, there's a possibility that people who get it very quickly probably put that amount of time in just within that short amount. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right. They just like max their 24 hours in a day to get as good as they can at it. But yeah, like, so I had this thing with Ninja Gaiden, like if I used to finish a lot of runs towards the end of the world record grind. I'd finish almost no runs because like the only runs I'd finished were ones that had a shot at it.
Right.
But, like, I used to finish a lot of runs and, like, a sub 12 run, like, I'd have, like, Raven Conan, and, like, other metrics. So, like, a sub 1140 would be, the payment and the A plus and all that stuff.
Yep,
So,
alien
like
eyes.
yeah, yeah, Alien Eyes. You're very, very familiar with, Alien Eyes.
I felt like I
So,
was
yeah,
doing
like
something wrong while I was drawing it.
but, like, I gotta keep going. This is bad, but I like
I
it.
was in bed drawing it, and my partner's asleep next to me. I'm like, "This feels naughty."
Oh, yeah, that's hilarious.
Ugh.
So, like, I tried to, like, come up with, like, a Chip and Dale thing, like a sub 10 time would be, like, something, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'll need to come up with those metrics if we lock in a full time. So, a full-time grind will come up with some
Yeah, I think it'd be
some
cool.
some metrics to hit.
Because then it also gives people who've been watching and are interested, like, "Oh, a goal time. Okay, so this is what's considered, like, somewhere good."
Yeah, yeah.
I like the idea. I think that's one of the success points of Ninja Gaiden. There are these, like, stepping stones.
Yeah, there's like so many things about Ninja Gaiden community that are successful and
Yeah,
like
one just being the community itself. Like, one
yeah,
of the most
yeah.
helpful communities I've ever been a part of. Like, they'll just gather. Like, "Oh,
Oh
somebody's
yeah.
playing Ninja Gaiden? Let's go."
It's like you see a duck and you like feed him some bread and then like a million ducks come. Like that's the running Ninja Gaiden is like, and you ask like one question in the Discord, like, oh, you want to know more about it? And like you get like 50 replies. Um, but no, that's amazing. That's what it's about. And like I don't play the game anymore, but yeah, it's an amazing community, and I owe a lot to the Ninja Gaiden community, and I hope we see, you know, as a speedrunner, like in terms of a world record, like the absolute best you can do is you're like, all right, like I got a record or I did something, that I invented a trick or something or whatever. I got a record, and you're like, there's a linear timeline, right? And it's like runner who has record here, runner who has record here, and you're just like this little belt notch on
Yeah.
this linear timeline. Like eventually, someone's going to come and push that further.
Yep.
Um, but like I hope that I was able to like maybe usher in some new people, and like I would love to see. I imagine that if he wants, Arcus will take it back. If he wants, he has the ability to. But even eventually beyond that, someone's gonna come along and beat that time too. So I hope that at least help open the door to like not me, not Arcus, like not Becco, like just some regular people, whatever, who like, yeah, I know I can push the game way past these guys. I'll make their time seem slow.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that chapter.
I firmly believe that you have, and I mean, there's already that potential in the community with a bunch of runners that I mean, I know there are people like Lane Rayner and people that like have the. I would even put Lick Arcade in there. Like, if he wanted to, he could put in the work. Like, he's good, but it's like, who's gonna
No,
be the
he
one to do it?
yeah, people with Insano Mash, Lane Rainer,
Joe
like
Kerr, like,
Joker, Pensive Moose too, who I
yes,
think he seems to have that like, "Oh, I'm a little insane. I want to torture myself for an amount of years to get it." I think he might show some cool stuff. Yeah, yeah. Like, cause my mash isn't even that good. Like, be honest. Like, almost every person who could run that game, if you want to mashy me, like I'm almost sure you're gonna get a faster number than I can mash out.
that's one of the other reasons why like I look to you for Ninja Gaiden inspiration is because my mash is garbage in comparison to most people's. So like accuracy is key. Without the
Yeah,
accuracy, it like falls apart.
yeah, a big part of that was like someone like set a bounty for me to learn the plate kill, which is like a 1.5 cycle kill on Jakio, is the second to last boss in the game. And I was like, there's no way I could do it, but he set a very high bounty for me, so I was like, I have to try.
Yeah.
And I got, I got really close. Like one of my best attempt, he only had one health on that 1.5 cycle, so I was like, oh, we can do this. And like the first time I got it, kind of by luck a little bit, but I was like, Let's look at this and dissect all of the things going on here, all of the hitboxes, and see exactly what's going on here. Let's make this something that is at least fairly repeatable. And even if we can't get it, like, let's figure out all the points of failure on this one kill. And, like, okay, so if this goes wrong, I can still back up in this way. Or if this goes wrong, I can still bang out a 2 cycle or a 2.5 cycle. And that was like a huge part of the evolution of the grind too. I made a whole tutorial on it.
Yeah.
It's way too in depth and too long, but like
It's
that was a
perfect.
huge that was a huge part of and like I don't have a fast match. I really don't. Like if I really 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 try hard, almost hurt myself, I can maybe get a 10, 10
Right.
presses per second. But most of the time it's like around an 8.5. So
Yeah.
it's not very fast at all. And I just was able to figure out like Jacquio's got this enormous sprite, but his hitbox is actually really small, and it's like right
It's in
where
a
it starts.
dumb
It starts really
position.
high, it's really dumb. It starts really high, and it's here, and like, okay, so how many times do I need to hit him to make this thing work? And it turned out to be 4 times per volley, which actually, in terms of a match, is not slow, but it's pretty manageable. Like
Right.
if if I were to challenge somebody to just mash 4 hits in the timing that you would need to get a play kill, like most people who run games would be able to do it. You know,
Yeah.
um, that's something else no one's really picked that up though. Like everyone's still like, like mashing
Yeah.
it out. I would love someone to pick that piece of information up and run with it.
Yeah, because you know what's funny about it is I watched this tutorial and then I sat down and I was like, "Oh, let me try it," and I was getting more successful kills on Jackie-O, like, more consistent, like, 2.5 to, like, 3 cycle, whatever,
Right.
um, but then when I get into a run and I get to him, I revert to the, like, full ham, inaccurate, like it's out of the window.
Yeah, I mean, cause he's scary. He's scary, man. Like, even though the best can like, I still get, scared of him, you know? Like, if I'm doing a marathon run or something, I'm like, I get nervous, yeah? But, like, all that information, if you have all that information was designed to help me be less nervous because,
Yeah.
I could just, like, have the prep, the preparation and, like, okay, so it might not go the way I want, but if this happens, then I know that I do this, and I won't be
Yeah,
plagued
having backups is
by it or
huge.
whatever. Yeah.
Well, shoot, I do have to get going. I appreciate you sitting down with me. This has been a blast.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Been a good friend for a while now, an internet friend for a while. And yeah, I had a good time. Stuff is Stuff is an awesome artist. I know you know that. He's done a lot of my emotes. The A plus one is really good.
Would you say
Really
it's A
good.
plus? Thank you.
Yeah, I would say it's A plus plus.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of another one, so I'm excited for that.
It's gonna be a good one.
I'm gonna find somebody to raid because
Sounds good,
I
man.
think it's good to continue to spread love in any chance we can. We all grow together. This is the hardest part. I don't care what anybody says. Somebody might say setup, lighting, sound.
Finding a
No.
raid target.
Yes. Finding a
Sometimes
raid
I
target.
I give up and I was like, chat, give me the first person
Yeah.
who suggests something. That's who we're gonna raid.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Hey, chat, first person to be suggested, we're gonna raid.
There
'Cause
you
yeah,
go. I gave him an out.
yeah, because otherwise, man, raid the
Oh, man.
retro runner. Is Mappy Man? Mappy Man's on right now. I'm here for it. Yeah, I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, thanks, man. Same.
Yeah, this has been a fun time. These are just fun. It's nice to actually sit down. Like a lot of times in streaming, it's a very, I wouldn't say one-sided, but it's not the same as sitting down and talking to somebody. It's just different.
No, yeah. You have your stream, you have the mic, and people can interact with you by typing, but like you're in control of the narrative, you don't have to acknowledge someone if you don't want to, but
Yeah.
this is more real human interaction. It's cool. And I love the podcast format. That's why I did one so long with 8-Bit Steve because I'm a podcast junkie. I love it. I
Yeah.
listen to somebody talk all day about anything.
I'm there with you. I love them. Let's see. All right, so we did Mappy Man. All right, let's go visit Mappy Man. Thank y'all again. I'm gonna go stretch my back about it because sitting plus old is not a good
Yeah,
equation.
old is bad. Old is bad.
The one thing you can't get back is your time, so thank you so much for spending your time with me, but be sure to make some time for yourself. Mental health is very important, so even taking a minute out of your day to just exist and be can make a huge difference in your mental health. It's important to just step away for a moment, get away from the chaos, and just allow yourself to be. Let's continue to spread love and positivity as much as we can. My name is Stuff is Stuff, and this has been an interview on This Week in Retro.